Tonight, COVID restrictions in Broken Hill further ease as vaccination targets are met. And Port Pirie's lead reduction program to continue for another 10 years.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. Just a week after coming out of lockdown, COVID restrictions for the fully vaccinated in Broken Hill have eased further. Changes are more restrained this time around, and come as New South Wales hits 80% full vaccination coverage.
Stepping back onto school grounds, another step towards COVID normal.
I think it's really exciting for them to come back today.
Because I get to see all my friends again.
Kindergarten and Year 1 students, the first to return to class after homeschooling for more than 3 months.
It's homeschooling and working from home. It's been a bit of a challenge, but the teachers have been amazing.
The changes aligning with New South Wales hitting 80% double dose over the weekend. It means community sport and events can resume, and up to 20 fully vaccinated people over 16 can gather at homes. There's only a slight easing of rules for businesses, not a major concern. Some say they've been run off their feet since reopening.
We were a little bit underprepared for how well everyone was going to take to these, loosening of the restrictions. Everyone's been really good.
Density limits remain, but masks don't need to be worn in offices, and stand-up drinking is now allowed indoors.
Everyone's taking that a little bit different. It's a really grey area. Can you have a beer standing at the bar, having a drink? Yes. But you've got to put your mask on to take a step away to be able to go to another table. Restrictions
will ease further in a fortnight when hospitality bookings are no longer capped. No new cases were recorded in Broken Hill or the Far West LHD to 8 p.m. last night. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Premier Stephen Marshall is facing pressure to ensure Fraser Ellis is not the Liberal Party candidate for Narungga at March's state election. However, Mr Ellis, whose trial over deception offences has been delayed, says he wants to be pre-selected.
Calling for Narungga voters to get more answers.
Who's Stephen Marshall's candidate? Is it Fraser Ellis or is it someone else? I think people have a right to know.
Current member Fraser Ellis was charged with 23 counts of deception in February this year, following an independent investigation into the country member's allowance, forcing him to leave the Liberal Party and move to the crossbench. However, his trial, which was due to take place in November, has been delayed until after the March state election. Labor says Premier Stephen Marshall needs to ensure Mr Ellis remains out the party while the case continues.
I think it's the ultimate act of desperation, and it would prove that the government is completely morally bankrupt. Now, Fraser's entitled to the presumption of innocence, but he's still charged. And because he's charged, he can't be a Liberal Party candidate.
In a statement, Mr Ellis says given he is presumed innocent until proven guilty, he hopes the party will allow him to stand as their candidate. If the Liberal Party does not endorse him, he says he will nominate as an independent. The opposition stopping short of saying he shouldn't run at all.
I don't think you can call on him to be out of Parliament altogether until he's had those accusations tested in court.
The Liberal Party says a decision is yet to be made. Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Police have arrested a Port Lincoln man in relation to an arson attack earlier this year. The 30-year-old was arrested on Wednesday over a fire at a property on Barley Road on June 25. A shed was destroyed as a result of the incident. The man was charged with serious criminal trespass and arson. He was granted bail and will appear in Port Lincoln's Magistrates Court in December. And police are investigating a break-in in Ceduna, where a motorbike was stolen from a shed. Between 10 p.m. on Thursday, October 14 and 7:30 a.m. October 15th, a green Kawasaki dirt bike was stolen from the property on Decris Bay Road. Police say the bike has distinct Rowan 38 markings on the panels. Anyone with information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. The search for missing Port Augusta man Mason Cesanto has come to an end, with his body believed to have been found. Police say it was discovered on Sunday beside a road in Lee Creek. The 18-year-old disappeared more than a fortnight ago, after last being seen near the Lee Creek Sports Oval. Police say there are no suspicious circumstances, with a report to be prepared for the coroner. And if you or someone you know needs help, support is available. Please call Lifeline on 13 11 14 for free and confidential support 24 hours, 7 days a week. Port Pirie's lead reduction program will be extended for another 10 years, with the state government and Neostar signing a new agreement. Mayor Leon Stevens pleased with the announcement, saying it's great news for the city.
A 10-year commitment to the people of Port Pirie and the Upper Spencer Gulf.
Well, we're going to deliver short, medium and long-term improvements with regard to lead in air and lead in blood for the people of Port Pirie.
TLAP will be extended until 2034 as part of an agreement between the state government and Neostar. The Energy and Mining Minister says promises from the former Labor government that lead pollution would be a thing of the past have not been delivered. He says more time is needed to reduce lead levels after more than 100 years of environmental impacts.
I've been very disappointed with the results which the previous government's program have delivered, and I am determined to improve on what the previous government has done.
In a statement, Neostar's Vice President Dale Webb says the company recognises the importance of TLAP and they are excited about the positive changes which have already occurred, including the appointment of Peter Dolan as Executive Director.
TLAP is doing a number of things about cleaning of community facilities like playgrounds and street sweeping and greening in general. Those things will continue, so having an extra 10 years means longer term initiatives like some of the greening initiatives have got time to bear fruit.
Mayor Leon Stevens welcoming the announcement.
It's one of the things that we've been lobbying for quite some time now, and it is potentially a game changer for us in our community.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, a new report shows South Australia lags on digital equity, and the Flinders Ranges comes alive to the sound of rock music. Welcome back. New data reveals South Australia is behind the rest of the country when it comes to access to adequate digital technologies. Whyallah's Public Library looking to help, holding lessons on how to access the online world.
Teaching Whyallah residents the skills needed in a digital world. The city's public library holding online sessions this week to educate people on tasks such as online banking and using MyGov.
Basically, we're trying to get people engaged with the online environment to get rid of that myth that everyone knows how to do it.
It comes as the 2021 Australian Digital Inclusion Index was released, showing South Australia behind the rest of the country when it comes to access to technology. Smaller towns on the Eyre Peninsula scoring lower than major centres like Whyallah and Port Lincoln.
It's clear that the communities of Woodner, Tumby Bay, Streaky Bay and Elliston are all doing much worse from an inclusion aspect.
SACOS, concerned about the availability of reliable and stable internet. While the state's scores has improved slightly from last year, SACOS believes more can be done.
There's still a lot of people across our community that haven't yet managed to develop the skills that they need.
More information about Get Online Week can be found on the Whyallah Public Library's Facebook page. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The best of Broken Hill's community spirit has been on show, with those who go above and beyond recognised at the Far West Volunteer of the Year Awards. A 12-year-old school student taking the top honour for her charity work.
It's fair to say Abby Kelly was surprised to be named as Far West Volunteer of the Year.
Thank you so much.
She's not old enough to be in high school but has already raised thousands of dollars for charities, is an environmental lobbyist and wants to work to find a cure for cancer. Crazy Sock Day raising money for Love Your Sister, finally able to go ahead in December.
10 schools, which is all of the schools in Broken Hill, and about 40 to 50 businesses involved.
Shane Webb and Trevor Murphy crowned Adult Volunteers of the Year. Both volunteer with St John Ambulance, among other organisations. At a time when many have been left isolated, it's people like Faye Rolton, Senior Volunteer of the Year, and her decades with Meals on Wheels, who've looked after our most vulnerable.
I've loved every minute of it, and I've made some lovely, lovely friends, both clients and the people who work in the kitchen.
The volunteers in the kitchen at the hospital kiosk named Team of the Year.
We were still able this year to give them $125,500, which was fantastic.
Giving up their time to make our community stronger. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Upper Spencer Golf residents have enjoyed a weekend of rock and roll in the Flinders Ranges. The weekend's warm and sunny conditions making Quorn the perfect setting, headlined by a star performance from Eskimo Joe.
A festival for those who like to live life loud. Fans of rock and roll coming out in their hundreds for a good old-fashioned Aussie concert. The Rock the Ranges Festival seeing 6 different bands take to Quorn Oval for a day filled with music.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant day.
I've had a great day.
Fan favourites Chunky Custard, Acoustic Juice and Big Andy and the Rockets had crowds singing along to some of rock's greatest tunes. 2021 AFL Grand Final performer Eskimo Joe then jumped on stage, stealing the show with their most famous hits. Some were just happy to be out in the sun playing. Organisers say the event recorded its largest attendance numbers to date. The Quorn community and local businesses benefiting from those who travelled for the concert.
They're buying food and petrol and we're getting to the end of the tourist season slowly, so that little extra push towards the end is great for local business.
There is no rest for the organisers, however, with their Cleve Harvest Music Festival up next in less than 2 weeks. Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Port Augusta residents putting their running shoes on in the fight to cure cancer. And vintage go-karts take to the Weiler racetrack. Aerial baiting will resume in far west New South Wales next week. The spring program will target predetermined areas where wild dogs, foxes and feral cats are known to occupy. Up to 10 baits will be dropped per kilometre over an area spanning from Pooncarie to Broken Hill. Western Local Land Services also hoping to put tracking collars on 28 wild dogs to give landholders a clearer indication of where the animals are travelling. After a long break, the Cancer Council's Relay for Life has returned to Port Augusta. Organisers say it was a great show of support for those suffering from cancer, with more than 120 people taking part in the event.
An event to commemorate, remember and fight back against cancer. The Relay for Life taking place in Chinnery Park over the weekend.
Relay is one of those incredible community events that brings people together to celebrate survivorship, to honour those we've lost and to make a commitment together to fight back against cancer within our community.
Since running its first event in 2006, the local committee has raised more than $336,000 to assist those impacted by cancer. This year's edition raising more than $27,000.
It's all about doing everything we can to raise money for cancer, so that's wonderful all these people care that much.
With 11 different teams registering, there was plenty of vibrant outfits walking the field.
Every participant gets a Relay for Life top, but we really encourage them to bring the spirit of relay and theme their teams and have some fun in the process.
COVID uncertainty forcing the relay to be cut back, but it was still an almighty task with the weekend's clear sunny skies turning up the heat. Survivors and carers also taking part in a special lap of honour before being invited to a celebratory afternoon tea. The event, a chance for everyone to make strides towards a cancer-free future.
All of our teams lost someone that they love, so we do it for them.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Engines were roaring at the Mount Young racetrack over the weekend as the Wyler Go-Kart Club held its monthly meetup. Special visitors from Adelaide made the trip to the Steel City to give some vintage flair to the event.
It's a sound that makes any revhead smile from ear to ear. Vintage go-karts from Adelaide stopping by the Wyler Go-Kart Club's Mount Young track over the weekend.
We had an October meeting with the vintage karts from Adelaide, and there was about 9 of them, and they are fairly old karts.
The vehicles are up to 30 years old. Unlike modern karts, which are self-starting and don't require any assistance to be mobile, the classics have to be pushed onto the track.
They were only there as a display because they weren't racing, but they were going very fast.
The Steel City has a strong go-kart scene, with children from as young as 6 enjoying the drive around the circuits. They are keen for anyone with an interest in motor racing to come and join them in any capacity.
We have had new members who are drivers, and we have also had people who are going to join as helpers.
The club's next meeting is on November 13th. More information can be found on the Go-Kart Club's Facebook page. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We will check all the weekend's local cricket results, and we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Hello again. It was a big weekend of cricket in Port Lincoln and Port Pirie, with both associations crowning their 2020 champions. With all the details, our reporter Dylan Smith has this week's cricket wrap.
There were big sixes and spectacular catches at Ravendale on Sunday afternoon as Port Lincoln's cricketers battled it out for the 2020 championship. The stage was set at Ravendale on a perfect spring day. Charlton was looking to make it 3 T20 premierships in a row as they faced Tasman in the final. Tasman started well with the bat, Jack Bunder and George Wilkes dispatching the opening bowlers. The Roosters were going at 8 and over before Connor Madden snared the important wicket of Jack Bunder for 15. However, there was no reprieve for Charlton as the experienced Andrew Frick lifted the run rate. Frick and Wilkes dispatched numerous sixes before Wilkes fell for a well-made 46. Frick followed soon after as Madden snared his second wicket. From there, Charlton were able to stem the flow of runs, restricting Tasman to 6 for 140 from their 20 overs. Connor Madden was the pick of the bowlers, finishing with impressive figures of 5 for 17 off his 4 overs. In reply, Charlton lost their first wicket in the 4th over, but from there it was the Connor Madden show. The all-rounder compiling 59 off 40 deliveries, helping his side chase down the total in the 19th over. Charlton going back to back to back in style. Over in Port Augusta, it was a one-sided affair in their final. South Augusta restricted Central to 8 for 63 off their 20 overs. South Augusta comfortably chasing down the target in the 12th over. Finally, it was round 1 in the Port Pirie Cricket Association. Southport had a dominant win over Proprietary, bowling the hosts out for 98. While Port Germain defended their total of 133, skiddling Wandera for 78. That's all for cricket this week. I'll be back tomorrow night with a look at the rest of the region's sport.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather across the Spencer Gulf and Broken Hill. With all the details, it's good evening to Alex Sykes.
Thanks, John. Lovely tie you got on there, and happy Monday to you all. Well, it appears that rain from the weekend was clearing today with mainly fine conditions across the region, and it's set to really feel like spring for most of the week with just a bit of midweek rain in some parts. From 3 p.m. today, Wyler was 24, Port Lincoln was 18, and Broken Hill got to 29. Looking further out across the region now, Port Augusta was 28, Port Pirie was 26, Adelaide and Clare were both 24, Woodna was 30, Kadina and Cleve were both 22 and Cooper Pedy got to 34. Taking a look at the satellite image now, cloud about the Riverland and lower northeast pastorals with a trough is causing some showers. Patchy cloud over the northwest pastorals with another trough is not causing any rain. Clearer skies elsewhere over the state with a high pressure ridge and hot dry air mass. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters, and it's set to be a calm one. Southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 1 metre and south to southwesterly swell below 1 metre. Port Lincoln mostly sunny and 21 degrees, Cleve with a high of 27, Woodna partly cloudy with a top of 34 degrees. Whyalla will reach 27, Port Augusta mostly sunny and set to reach a high of 33 degrees. It will get to 28 in Kadina. Port Pirie mostly sunny with 31, Clare sunny and 25, and Broken Hill also sunny and a degree warmer there. Taking a look further through the week now, showers across parts of the region on Wednesday. Cooper Pedy will have a shower or two with a very hot 41 degrees, partly cloudy in Port Augusta with 38 degrees there. Those showers will clear by Thursday, except in Adelaide, which will have a shower or two and 22 degrees. Port Pirie and Woodna will be mostly sunny, set to reach 27. To Friday now, sunny in Cooper Pedy and Broken Hill, possible shower in Port Lincoln with 20 degrees, partly cloudy conditions everywhere else. Well, John, a slight improvement on last week's conditions, and that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Monday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Until then, enjoy your evening here on 7. Good night.